The female alien captain saved his life. Now he's bound to her forever. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one a tiny beacon of possibility. Even now, years later, as a seasoned pilot for the United Earth Exploration Corps, that sense of wonder had not faded. He still felt the same excitement when he navigated his ship through the vast, silent emptiness of space. On this mission, however, the excitement was tinged with unease. Ethan was on the outskirts of charted space, far beyond the familiar sectors patrolled by human fleets. His assignment was simple: explore and report on uncharted regions near the Veloran Nebula, a sprawling cloud of colorful gases and dust that glimmered like a living painting. But simple missions often became dangerous, and Ethan had learned never to underestimate the void. The warning signs had come subtly at first. Sensors picked up small clusters of meteors moving faster than predicted, and minor navigational anomalies flickered across his console. Ethan adjusted his course, relying on his instincts and experience to guide him. Yet the storm intensified faster than anything he had anticipated. Rocks the size of cars and even larger began to hurtle through space, some glowing with heat from the nebula's radiation. Ethan gritted his teeth. "Looks like we've got more than a few surprises today," he muttered to himself. He adjusted the ship's shields, routing extra power to protect the hull. Every pilot knew that no amount of skill could make a ship completely invincible, but preparation often meant the difference between life and death. The first impact shook the ship violently. Sparks flew across the console, alarms screamed, and Ethan struggled to keep control. He maneuvered sharply, dodging a meteor that was larger than his entire ship, but another smashed against the port side. He felt a jolt run through his body as the ship's systems flickered. Oxygen levels dropped slightly. Come on," Ethan whispered, pushing the engines to their limits. But the storm seemed alive, shifting and twisting in unpredictable patterns. His attempts to navigate through it were slow and painstaking. Every moment felt like an eternity, and yet deep inside he knew he couldn't give up. The void didn't forgive weakness. Then it happened. A massive meteor, larger than any he had seen, came straight toward him. There was no way to dodge it in time. Ethan's mind raced. Emergency thrusters, evasive maneuvers, maybe even a desperate jump to hyperspace. But it was too late. The rock smashed into the hull with a deafening impact, sending him tumbling across the cockpit. Everything went dark. Ethan's eyes opened slowly. Pain radiated through his body and his vision was blurred. He tried to reach the console, but the controls were smashed. Smoke filled the cabin, and warning lights flashed erratically. He realized with growing fear that he was trapped. The ship was broken, drifting helplessly in the meteor field. And then, amid the chaos, he heard a sound unlike any he had ever encountered, a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through the metal of his ship. Before he could even react, a massive shadow appeared outside the shattered viewport. It was a ship, unlike any design he had ever seen. Sleek, elongated, with a surface that shimmered with an almost liquid metallic sheen. Lights blinked along its hull, not in a pattern he recognized, but in a rhythm that felt purposeful and intelligent. Ethan's heart raced. He had never seen alien technology up close, never imagined he would. Then the shadow moved closer, and a beam of light shot toward his damaged ship. It wasn't a weapon. The beam wrapped around his ship like a gentle hand, lifting it and stabilizing it. Ethan felt a sense of calm wash over him for the first time since the meteor storm began. A voice came through the comm, deep and clear, yet entirely alien. "Remain calm, you are not in danger anymore." Ethan's mouth went dry. Who are you?" he managed to ask, his voice shaking. "I am Commander Lyria, the voice replied. "You are in my care now." The name sounded strange and commanding. Ethan realized that despite the chaos around him, he was being rescued. Somehow, improbably, he was going to live. The alien ship guided his battered vessel toward a docking bay that seemed impossibly large and intricate. Mechanisms extended from the alien ship, enveloping his own in protective arms. The process was silent except for the soft hum that continued to vibrate through his chest. When the docking was complete, Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The hull of his ship opened, and he was gently pulled into the alien vessel by an unseen force, almost like walking on a moving floor. His legs trembled as he entered a vast chamber, filled with strange symbols and glowing panels. Everything was alive with movement, yet entirely controlled. And then he saw her. Commander Lyria Thal stood tall, taller than most humans, with a lithe, graceful figure. Her skin shimmered in shades of silver and blue, reflecting the lights around her. Her eyes were large and almond-shaped, golden and glowing faintly, with a depth that made Ethan feel as if she could see every thought in his mind. She wore a uniform unlike any human design, sleek, armored in places, yet elegant, with symbols that marked her rank and accomplishments. "You are safe," Lyria said again, her voice carrying authority and calm in equal measure. "Your survival was necessary." Ethan swallowed hard. I don't understand. Why save me?" Lyria studied him, her gaze piercing yet not unkind. "In my culture, a life saved is a bond formed. By saving you, I have created a connection between us. It is not easily broken." The words made Ethan's stomach twist. Bond, connection. He had read about alien cultures forming ties over shared experiences, but he had never imagined being part of one himself. And yet, standing before Lyria, he felt something he couldn't name, a mixture of awe, fear, and an undeniable pull toward her. I don't know what to say," he admitted. "You do not need to speak," Lyria replied. "Your presence is acknowledgement enough. You will learn the meaning of our bond in time." Ethan's mind raced. He had survived a storm, an impossible collision, and now found himself aboard an alien ship with a commander who seemed both alien and compelling. Every instinct screamed at him to be cautious, yet there was a strange sense of safety in her presence. Are there others like you?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Lyria's eyes flickered. "Many exist. Few venture beyond our territory. You are fortunate your timing was unusual. Many would not survive what you faced." Ethan swallowed hard, remembering the storm, the rocks, the panic, and the sudden lift of his ship. I guess I was lucky." "You were," Lyria said simply. "But luck alone does not explain survival. Courage, adaptability, and willpower are also factors. You displayed all three." The words brought a flicker of pride, though Ethan struggled to reconcile it with his fear. He had survived, but he had also been utterly at the mercy of this alien commander. He could not escape the growing sense that his life had changed forever. "Commander Thal," he said cautiously, "what happens now?" Lyria's golden eyes met his, steady and unwavering. "Now you recover, you learn, you understand what it means to be bound. And later, you will decide if you accept this bond willingly or resist it. Resistance is possible, but the consequences are significant." Ethan nodded, though a shiver ran down his spine. The word bound echoed in his mind, heavy with promise and warning. Somehow, he knew that his life had shifted onto a path from which there might be no return. For now, though, he allowed himself to breathe, to take in the alien technology, the calm presence of Lyria Thal, and the realization that he had survived the impossible. One thing was certain: his life was no longer entirely his own, and he would never forget the alien captain who had saved him from certain death. Ethan woke to a soft glow filling the room. His body ached, but the pain was no longer sharp. It had dulled into a gentle reminder of what he had endured. He blinked slowly, taking in his surroundings. The chamber was unlike anything he had ever seen. Smooth walls that seemed to ripple with light, consoles with symbols that glowed faintly, and a calm hum that resonated through the floor. Everything felt alive yet serene, as though the ship itself were aware of his presence. A soft step echoed behind him. He turned to see Commander Lyria Thal entering, her posture as graceful as ever. Her golden eyes regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Ethan had noticed this about her. She rarely showed strong emotion, but when she did, it carried weight. "Good morning," she said simply. "You slept longer than expected." Ethan rubbed his face, still adjusting to the strange rhythm of alien time. "I guess I needed it," he admitted. "My body, my mind, everything feels different." "That is normal," Lyria replied. "Your species experiences trauma in different ways. Physical recovery is simple. Mental recovery takes longer. And the bond we share will accelerate certain aspects of your awareness." Ethan frowned, unsure what she meant. "The bond? I don't understand it completely. Can you explain?" Lyria nodded, stepping closer. "In my culture, when one being saves another from death, a bond is formed. It is a connection of trust, respect, and loyalty. It is not forced, but it is powerful. It links your mind and spirit to mine. You will feel certain things more deeply. Your thoughts, emotions, even instincts will sometimes respond to mine. This is not harmful. It is a guide." Ethan swallowed hard. The concept was alien, almost unbelievable, yet he could not deny the strange sensation he felt. Since the rescue, he had experienced flashes of calmness, sudden clarity, and moments where he instinctively knew what Lyria was thinking or intending. It was subtle but undeniable. Is there a choice?" he asked cautiously. "Can I refuse it?" "You may resist," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But the bond is already formed. Resistance is not without consequence. It will create tension, uncertainty, and potential conflict. Accepting it allows harmony, growth, and cooperation. It will not take away your freedom. But it will shape your path." Ethan looked down, feeling the weight of her words. Freedom. He had always valued it above all else, yet here he was, tethered to an alien being by fate and circumstance. The idea was frightening, but a small part of him felt safe, alive. He took a deep breath. I don't know if I understand fully, but I want to learn." Lyria's eyes softened slightly, a rare gesture. "That is the first step. Curiosity and willingness are the foundations of understanding." She gestured toward a nearby console. "Walk with me. There is much you must see, and much you will learn about this ship, our mission, and the universe beyond your known borders." Ethan rose, feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety. He followed her, stepping onto a walkway that seemed to float above a vast chamber below. The view was breathtaking. The ship's interior was immense, far larger than its exterior suggested. Light shimmered along the walls, creating illusions of depth and movement, while strange mechanisms pulsed with life. Ethan could sense the intelligence behind every design, every line. "This ship," he began, "it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it." "It was built by my people over many generations," Lyria explained. "It is designed for exploration, defense, and survival. Every system is connected. Every action affects the whole. You will learn to operate within it, but more importantly, you will learn to trust it and me." Ethan nodded, feeling a shiver of awe. I trust you," he said quietly. Lyria's gaze met his. "That is a start. Trust is not given lightly. It must be proven. You will see its value in time." As they moved deeper into the ship, Ethan noticed other beings moving in the corridors. They were humanoid in shape but bore differences in height, skin tone, and facial structure. Some shimmered like Lyria, others had textures that reminded him of stone or crystal. They moved with purpose and grace, acknowledging Lyria with respectful nods. Ethan realized that this ship was not just a vessel, it was a community, a living ecosystem guided by discipline and unity. "Who are they?" he asked. "They are my crew," Lyria said. "Each has undergone training, each has purpose. They follow orders because they understand the mission, not out of fear. You will meet them in time. For now, observe and learn. There is much to absorb." Ethan nodded, feeling slightly overwhelmed but also inspired. Even in his own fleet, He had never encountered such cohesion, such silent efficiency. These were not just soldiers, they were partners in exploration, in survival, in purpose. They reached a large chamber filled with glowing holographic displays. Lyria gestured toward a map of nearby star systems, nebulae, and anomalies. "This is our current area of operation," she explained. "Several systems are uncharted, and we have received reports of disturbances, unexplained phenomena, unusual energy signatures. Your mission, should you choose to accept it fully, is to assist in exploration, observation, and problem-solving." Ethan leaned in, scanning the map. "Disturbances? Like what?" "Some are natural," Lyria said. "Nebulae, gravitational anomalies, meteor clusters. Others are artificial, structures, signals, vessels of unknown origin. Your skills as a human pilot are valuable. Humans are adaptable, intuitive, and creative. You see possibilities where my people see limitations." Ethan felt a spark of pride. I'll do my best." "You already have," Lyria replied. "By surviving the meteor storm, you demonstrated courage, quick thinking, and resilience. These traits are essential. The bond we share will enhance them, but you must also rely on your own judgment. This is not a test, it is reality. Life depends on your choices." As she spoke, Ethan noticed a subtle shift within himself. Thoughts he had not fully recognized surfaced. Instincts for navigation, spatial awareness, even problem-solving seemed sharper. He realized that the bond was already influencing him, strengthening him, guiding him. It was not control, it was partnership. "Ethan," Lyria said, her voice softening, "you may feel uncertainty, fear, or doubt. These are natural. The bond will not remove them. But it will help you act despite them. Together we are stronger than alone." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I think I understand, a little." "Good," Lyria said. "Understanding grows with experience. You will learn faster if you observe, question, and participate." She motioned toward a console. "This is your station. You will familiarize yourself with the ship's navigation, sensors, and communication systems. I will assist, but you must also act independently. The bond guides, it does not replace judgment." Ethan approached the console, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The interface was unlike anything he had seen. Symbols that shifted in color and shape, controls that responded to thought as much as touch. He hesitated, unsure where to begin, when Lyria's hand hovered near his shoulder, a gentle, almost imperceptible contact. "You are ready," she said. "Trust yourself. Trust the bond." Ethan took a deep breath and activated the console. Symbols responded instantly to his touch, shifting and rearranging to display maps, data streams, and star charts. He felt a thrill of achievement. The ship responded to him, almost as if it recognized his presence, guided by the subtle connection to Lyria. Hours passed as Lyria instructed him on the ship systems, the hazards of uncharted space, and the nuances of alien technology. Ethan absorbed information quickly, his human intuition blending with the guidance of the bond. For the first time since the meteor storm, he felt a sense of control and purpose. By the end of the day, Ethan was exhausted but exhilarated. He had learned more in a few hours than in years of standard training. And yet, the bond's influence was undeniable. He felt a connection to Lyria that was both comforting and disorienting, a silent promise that they were now linked in ways he did not fully understand. As he prepared to rest, Lyria approached once more. "Remember," she said, her voice low and serious, "the bond is not a chain. It is a bridge. It will guide you, protect you, and teach you. But the strength of our partnership depends on your willingness to grow, to trust, and to act. You are not alone, Ethan, never alone." Ethan looked at her, feeling a strange mix of awe, respect, and determination. I understand, and I want to honor it, I want to learn." Lyria's golden eyes softened. "Then rest. Tomorrow begins a new chapter, one in which you will face challenges, make choices, and discover the true meaning of the bond, together." As Ethan lay down, the hum of the ship filled his senses. He thought of the meteor storm, the moments of fear and despair, and the sudden, impossible rescue. And he understood more deeply than before that his life had changed forever. For the first time, he felt that being bound to an alien captain was not a burden. It was an opportunity, a path to something greater than he had ever imagined. And as sleep claimed him, Ethan dreamed of stars, unknown worlds, and the golden eyes of Commander Lyria Thal, guiding him toward a future he was only beginning to understand. The hum of the ship filled the air as Ethan stood at his station, eyes glued to the glowing holographic map before him. Commander Lyria Thal moved gracefully beside him, her golden eyes scanning the same displays with sharp precision. Outside the viewport, stars streaked past as the alien ship adjusted its course toward the source of a strange signal detected in a nearby uncharted system. "This is where the anomalies began," Lyria explained, pointing at a cluster of points on the holographic map. "Sensors indicate high levels of unusual energy readings. We do not know their origin. They may be natural, artificial, or something else entirely." Ethan felt a thrill of anticipation. This was the first real test of his skills and of the bond. He had spent days familiarizing himself with the ship's systems, learning to think like an alien navigator while still relying on his human instincts. Now it was time to see how he and Lyria could work together. "Any advice?" he asked cautiously, glancing at her. "Observe, analyze, and adapt," Lyria replied. "Do not act impulsively, but do not hesitate either. Timing is often as important as strategy." Ethan nodded. He adjusted the ship's sensors, scanning the system for signs of life, energy sources, or mechanical structures. The readouts flickered as the alien ship approached the area. Suddenly, a series of jagged shapes appeared on the screen, moving erratically through space. "What are those?" Ethan asked. "Rogue vessels," Lyria said, her voice steady. "Unknown origin. They are moving without coordination, attacking any object they encounter. Their technology is different from ours and yours. Caution is required." Ethan's pulse quickened. Rogue vessels. He had trained for hostile encounters, but the unpredictability of unknown technology always added tension. "Shall we engage?" he asked. "Not yet," Lyria said. "We will observe first. Understanding their behavior is crucial before confrontation. Our goal is not destruction, but resolution. If possible, avoidance or neutralization without unnecessary damage is preferred." The alien ship's sensors zoomed in on the rogue vessels. Ethan's mind raced as he analyzed their movement patterns. There was chaos, but also subtle repetition, an underlying intelligence guiding their attacks. He felt a flicker of connection through the bond, a sense of understanding that went beyond words. "Commander," he said, pointing at the display, "I think they respond to sudden changes in energy fields. If we manipulate the fields carefully, we might be able to control their direction." Lyria's eyes narrowed, a flicker of approval in her gaze. "A human solution," she murmured. "Interesting. Proceed with caution." Ethan adjusted the ship's energy emitters, creating a delicate pulse that rippled through space. The rogue vessels reacted almost immediately, altering their trajectory as if nudged by an invisible hand. Lyria's hand brushed his shoulder, subtle but grounding, and he felt a surge of confidence. The bond was guiding him, not controlling him, and together they were becoming a single, synchronized unit. "Good," Lyria said softly. "You are beginning to understand the value of collaboration. Observe how they respond and maintain balance. Overcorrection can be dangerous." Hours passed as Ethan and Lyria carefully guided the rogue vessels away from inhabited systems. The process required constant adjustment, anticipation, and trust. Ethan found himself relying on the bond more than ever, sensing her intentions before she spoke, predicting shifts in her strategy as though their minds were connected in a silent conversation. Despite the tension, there were moments of awe. The alien technology, the vastness of the nebula surrounding the system, and the beauty of the ships gliding through space left Ethan breathless. He had faced danger before, but never like this, never with such stakes, never with such wonder. Suddenly, one of the rogue vessels broke formation and accelerated toward the alien ship. Ethan reacted instinctively, manipulating the energy fields to create a barrier, but it wasn't enough. The vessel struck with a force that rattled the ship, sending sparks across the console. Ethan's heart pounded. "Ethan," Lyria's voice rang through the comm. "Adjust the pulse frequency. Redirect it to the secondary emitter." Ethan moved quickly, hands flying over controls, feeling the bond guide his instincts. The rogue vessel's trajectory shifted, narrowly missing the ship. He exhaled, heart racing. "Good," Lyria said calmly, though her eyes were sharp. "You are learning to trust yourself and me." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and relief. The bond was no longer just an abstract concept. It was real, active, and vital. Together, they had a chance to overcome challenges far greater than either could face alone. As the rogue vessels were gradually steered away from the inhabited areas, Ethan noticed a new pattern. One vessel moved differently from the others. It seemed to avoid the energy pulses entirely, maneuvering as though aware of the bond itself. "Commander," he said, pointing at the display, "one of them, it's different. It's avoiding our influence." Lyria studied the data, her expression serious. "Yes, it may be the leader. Its behavior suggests intelligence, perhaps even awareness of our methods. Approach with caution." Ethan's mind raced. "What should we do?" "We must engage directly," Lyria said, "but not aggressively. We will communicate." "Communicate with them?" Ethan asked, astonished. "Yes," Lyria replied. "Intelligence responds to signals, patterns, and consistency. Aggression will provoke. Guidance will encourage understanding. We are explorers, not conquerors. You will see the power of diplomacy, augmented by the bond." Ethan felt a flicker of doubt. Diplomacy with unknown vessels. It seemed impossible. Yet as he watched Lyria prepare the ship's communication array, he felt confidence grow within him. Her calm authority, combined with the bond, made him believe they could succeed. The alien ship emitted a series of harmonic pulses, complex sequences of energy and light designed to communicate intent. Ethan watched in awe as the rogue vessel hesitated, then altered its course slightly. The connection was fragile but real. "Maintain the pattern," Lyria instructed. "Do not break rhythm. It must see our intention clearly." Ethan focused, hands steady, heart pounding. The bond between him and Lyria pulsed softly, a rhythm that mirrored the ship's signals. For the first time, he felt fully synchronized with another being, fully aware of shared purpose and thought. The rogue vessel continued to respond, slowly aligning with the pulses. Ethan realized that he was not just following Lyria's commands. He was contributing, shaping the outcome through instinct, logic, and trust. Together, they were forming a bridge between species, between minds, and between wills. Hours passed. The rogue vessels eventually ceased their erratic movement, forming a stable pattern in orbit around a small, uncharted planet. Ethan and Lyria observed from the bridge, noting the intricate designs on the vessel's surfaces, symbols that suggested an advanced civilization, far older and more complex than human records indicated. "Remarkable," Ethan whispered. "They're intelligent. They're not hostile, just cautious." "Yes," Lyria said, "and they have responded to reason rather than force. You see, the bond amplifies cooperation. It is not about control, it is about connection, understanding, and shared purpose." Ethan nodded, feeling the truth of her words. The experience had tested him, challenged him, and changed him. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and fear, but he had survived, guided by the bond and the trust he had begun to place in Lyria. "Commander," he said, turning to her, "thank you for saving me, for everything. I'm learning more than I ever imagined." Lyria regarded him, her expression unreadable but gentle. You did not survive by luck alone, Ethan. Courage, intuition, and adaptability guided you. The bond has strengthened those qualities. You are ready for the next stage. Ethan felt a surge of determination. He realized that his life had changed forever, that the bond was not a burden but a pathway to something greater. Together they could face challenges that neither could face alone. Next stage, he asked. Yes, Lyria said, her golden eyes gleaming. The uncharted system holds more than we see. There are structures, perhaps inhabitants and anomalies that require careful exploration. Your skills as a human combined with the bond will be invaluable. Are you prepared? Ethan straightened, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. Yes, I'm ready. Lyria inclined her head, a gesture of approval. Good. Remember, the bond is a guide, not a chain. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust me. Together, we will uncover what lies beyond and ensure that both our worlds remain safe. As the alien ship adjusted its course toward the heart of the uncharted system, Ethan gazed out at the stars. For the first time, he felt the full weight of possibility. Danger awaited, yes, but so did discovery, understanding, and growth. And by his side was Commander Lyria Thal, the alien captain who had saved his life and now guided him into a future filled with wonder, challenge, and connection. For Ethan, the bond was no longer an abstract concept. It was alive, pulsing, and real. And as he prepared for the mission ahead, he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He was no longer alone. Together, he and Lyria would face whatever lay in the depths of uncharted space and emerge stronger than ever. The uncharted system lay before them like a jewel, bathed in the glow of distant suns and swirling nebulae. Ethan felt a mix of excitement and tension. Everything about this mission was unknown, and the rogue vessels they had guided earlier were only the beginning. Commander Lyria Thal stood at the bridge, her golden eyes scanning the holographic displays, her posture as calm and controlled as ever. We are approaching the central anomaly, Lyria said. Sensors detect a structure orbiting the largest planet in this system. Its energy signature is complex. Proceed carefully. Ethan's heart raced. The unknown always carried risk, and this structure was unlike anything he had seen. It pulsed with energy that did not match any known technology. He adjusted the ship's shields and navigation systems, feeling the bond subtly guiding his instincts, strengthening his focus. Do you feel it? He asked, almost whispering. Lyria's gaze met his. Yes, the anomaly affects our instruments and our senses. The bond will help you filter distractions. Trust it. As they drew closer, the structure became clearer. It was massive, angular, with surfaces that shimmered in colors Ethan could not name. Strange symbols covered it, glowing faintly, as if communicating without sound. The rogue vessels they had guided earlier hovered around it, almost like guardians. Ethan shivered. What is it? He asked, awe in his voice. Unknown, Lyria replied, but it is active. We must investigate directly. The rogue vessels will allow access only if we approach carefully. Any sudden movement could provoke them. Ethan nodded, fingers tightening around the controls. The bond pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, reminding him that he was not alone. It was a strange comfort, like having Lyria's thoughts in sync with his own, her presence guiding him even without words. They maneuvered closer, the alien ship gliding smoothly through the void. Ethan's eyes flicked between the controls and the holographic displays, monitoring energy fields, trajectories, and the rogue vessels. Suddenly, one of the vessels broke formation, charging toward them with alarming speed. Ethan, divert power to shields, Lyria commanded. Ethan reacted instinctively, routing energy to the shields and activating the evasive thrusters. The rogue vessel struck the shield with a force that sent vibrations through the hull. Alarms blared, and Ethan felt the bond flare in warning, a surge of tension and urgency. Why is it attacking? He shouted over the noise. Testing, Lyria said. It is assessing our reaction. Do not respond with aggression. We must maintain composure and follow protocol. Trust the bond. Ethan exhaled sharply, focusing. He felt the bond guide his hands, instinctively adjusting shields and energy pulses. The rogue vessel collided with the shields again but then paused, as if considering their next move. Slowly it backed away, rejoining the formation. Ethan felt a surge of relief and a strange pride. Together they had passed the first test. "Good," Lyria said quietly. "You are beginning to anticipate the anomaly's responses. That is the purpose of the bond, to enhance perception, not control." Ethan nodded, though his pulse was still racing. The bond was subtle but powerful, like a second set of senses attuned to Lyria's experience. It was not overpowering, but it made him aware of possibilities he might have missed on his own. They reached the structure and prepared to dock. Ethan's hands moved over the controls, guided by instinct, human intuition, and the subtle influence of the bond. The docking was precise, almost seamless, and soon they were inside a vast chamber that stretched far beyond their expectations. The interior was filled with glowing panels, floating orbs of light, and machinery that seemed to move with purpose. Strange energy currents flowed through the room, pulsing in patterns that defied comprehension. Ethan's head spun, and he felt the bond sharpen his focus, allowing him to process the information more clearly. "This place," he whispered, "it's alive somehow." "Yes," Lyria replied, "not alive as you know it, but responsive. Every action we take here has an effect. Caution and observation are essential." As they explored, sensors detected a surge of energy from a central core. Ethan glanced at Lyria. "What is that?" "That is the heart of the anomaly," Lyria said. "It controls the energy field and likely the rogue vessels. We must access it carefully. Any misstep could trigger a defensive response." They approached the core, and Ethan felt the bond intensify. The energy resonated through him, amplifying his awareness but also testing his endurance. He realized that this was not just a test of skill, it was a trial of trust, courage, and mental resilience. Suddenly, the core emitted a pulse, and the chamber's lights dimmed. Ethan felt a sharp tug in his mind, as though the anomaly were probing him directly. Images, thoughts, and emotions he could not fully understand flashed before him. Fear, confusion, and curiosity mingled, threatening to overwhelm his senses. "Stay focused," Lyria's voice rang in his mind and ears simultaneously. The bond flared, anchoring him. "Do not resist entirely. Observe, respond, adapt. You are stronger than you think." Ethan gritted his teeth, pushing back against the intrusive sensations. He felt Lyria beside him, steady and unwavering, her presence a lifeline. Slowly, clarity returned. He could sense patterns within the chaos, understand the flow of energy, and respond with precision. "Ethan," Lyria said, "we must synchronize with the core. You will guide the interface and I will stabilize the energy fields. Trust yourself and me." He nodded, hands moving over the controls. The bond flared again, linking their thoughts and intentions. Together they aligned with the core's rhythms, responding to its pulses and adjusting their actions. It was a delicate balance, too fast or too slow, and the entire chamber could erupt in destructive energy. Hours passed as they worked in tandem. Ethan felt exhaustion creeping in, but the bond kept him grounded, focused, and alert. He marveled at how perfectly their minds could coordinate, even across species. The anomaly tested them relentlessly, probing weaknesses and exploiting hesitation, yet together they persevered. Finally, the core stabilized. The energy pulses slowed, becoming steady and predictable. The rogue vessels outside ceased their defensive maneuvers, hovering calmly around the structure. Ethan exhaled, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. "You did well," Lyria said, her voice soft but firm. "You maintained composure, focus, and adaptability. These are not easy qualities to sustain under pressure." Ethan felt a swell of pride. "We did it together," he said, glancing at her. "The bond, it really works." Yes, Lyria replied. But remember, this was only the first trial. The anomaly will continue to test us, and future challenges will be even greater. Strength lies not in a single victory, but in consistent trust, courage, and cooperation. Ethan nodded, absorbing her words. He understood now that the bond was more than a connection. It was a partnership, a shared responsibility, and a source of strength that neither could access alone. As they explored deeper into the anomaly, Ethan noticed subtle changes in his perception. He could sense energy currents before they appeared on the displays, anticipate the movements of machinery, and even predict the reactions of the rogue vessels outside. The bond was teaching him to think beyond instinct, to integrate intuition with reason, and to act decisively in the face of uncertainty. "Commander," he said quietly, "I feel different, stronger, clearer, like I can see possibilities I couldn't before." Lyria's golden eyes softened. "That is the gift of the bond, Ethan. It does not take from you. It amplifies your strengths and guides your weaknesses, but it requires trust, patience, and humility. Do not rely solely on it, combine it with your own judgment." Ethan nodded. He realized that this trial had changed him profoundly. He was no longer just a human pilot in a dangerous situation. He was part of a partnership that transcended species, culture, and experience. He felt respect, gratitude, and something deeper, an understanding that survival, growth, and achievement were strongest when shared. As the anomaly's energy stabilized completely, Lyria approached the central console. "We have succeeded for now," she said. "But this is only one step. The anomaly is vast, complex, and ancient. Its purpose is not fully known. Our next mission will involve further exploration, and you will be at the forefront." Ethan felt a thrill of anticipation. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and overwhelming odds, and survived, guided by courage, skill, and the bond. He knew that whatever lay ahead, he was ready to face it. "Thank you, Commander," he said sincerely, "for trusting me, for guiding me, for saving me." Lyria's expression remained calm, but there was a hint of warmth in her gaze. "You have earned your place, Ethan. The bond is not a gift given lightly. You have proven yourself capable, courageous, and reliable. Remember this: trust yourself, trust the bond, and trust me. Together, we will face what comes next." As they prepared to leave the anomaly and report their findings, Ethan looked out at the vastness of space. He felt a deep sense of purpose, a connection that went beyond survival, and the certainty that the bond with Lyria Thal would guide him through challenges yet unseen. For the first time since the meteor storm, Ethan felt completely alive. The trial had tested him, shaped him, and revealed the true meaning of partnership, courage, and trust. And he knew, without doubt, that together with Lyria, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The alien ship glided through the uncharted system, its hull gleaming faintly in the light of distant stars. Ethan Cole sat at his station, fingers resting lightly on the controls, but his attention was fixed on the central viewport. The anomaly they had stabilized and the rogue vessels they had guided now lay behind them, a reminder of challenges faced and overcome. Yet the mission was not complete. There was still much to learn, and new obstacles awaited. Commander Lyria Thal stood beside him, calm and poised as always. Her golden eyes scanned the displays, analyzing data streams and patterns that Ethan could barely comprehend. Yet he did not feel inadequate. The bond they shared had grown stronger through every trial, connecting them in ways that transcended language and species. He could sense her intentions, anticipate her commands, and act in harmony with her guidance. "Ethan," Lyria said, her voice steady but carrying a note of anticipation, "the anomaly is stabilized, but preliminary scans indicate a secondary structure deeper within the system. Its energy signature is volatile, and its purpose is unclear. We must investigate." Ethan felt a surge of determination. "Then let's go, I'm ready." Lyria's eyes softened slightly, a gesture she reserved for rare moments. "I am glad. Your willingness to engage fully with the bond demonstrates growth, trust in it, and in yourself. As they approached the deeper structure, the alien ship's sensors picked up faint energy readings, flickering in unpredictable patterns. The rogue vessels observed from a distance, cautious but no longer aggressive. Ethan felt the bond pulse gently, guiding his instincts, alerting him to fluctuations in the energy fields. It was subtle yet vital, a silent hand steadying him in the unknown. The structure loomed ahead, immense and intricate. Its surfaces shimmered with shifting colors, and symbols etched into its walls glowed faintly, as if alive. Ethan could feel the complexity of the technology, the depth of intelligence behind it. He had faced danger before, but this was different. Here, understanding was as critical as courage. "Prepare for entry," Lyria instructed. "We will proceed slowly. Observation is essential. Do not act rashly, but do not hesitate either. Balance is everything." Ethan nodded, adjusting the ship's shields and navigation systems. The bond pulsed, a steady rhythm that mirrored his heartbeat. It reminded him that he was not alone, that Lyria's guidance and the connection between them were tools for survival, insight, and understanding. As they docked with the structure, Ethan felt a thrill of awe. The docking process was smooth, almost seamless, and soon they were inside a chamber far larger than the ship itself. Energy currents flowed through the room in intricate patterns, interacting with machinery that seemed to move with intent. Ethan felt the bond sharpen his focus, helping him comprehend the environment without being overwhelmed. "Look carefully," Lyria said, gesturing toward the central console. "This core controls the structure's energy systems. It is fragile and reactive. Any sudden movement or incorrect adjustment could trigger a defensive response." Ethan approached the console, hands steady but heart pounding. The symbols shifted and flowed under his touch, responding to both his commands and the subtle influence of the bond. He realized how much he had changed. Only days ago, he had been a human pilot struggling to survive a meteor storm. Now, he was navigating alien technology, guided by instinct, intellect, and the subtle guidance of another species. Suddenly, the core pulsed with energy and the chamber's lights flickered. Ethan felt a wave of mental pressure, a test of concentration and composure. Images and patterns flashed across his mind, challenging his perception, threatening to overwhelm him. He instinctively reached for the anchor of the bond, feeling Lyria's presence steady him, her focus reinforcing his own. "Ethan," Lyria said calmly, "do not resist entirely. Flow with it. Observe, adapt, and respond. You are capable." He took a deep breath, centering himself. Slowly, clarity returned. He could sense the patterns within the energy currents, anticipate the reactions of the machinery, and make adjustments with precision. The bond flared gently, reinforcing his focus, reminding him that they were in this together. Hours passed as they worked, aligning systems, stabilizing energy flows, and analyzing the structure. Ethan marveled at the complexity, the intelligence, and the sheer elegance of it all. Yet he also felt the weight of responsibility. Every action mattered, mistakes could be catastrophic, but he trusted the bond and he trusted himself. At one point, a sudden surge of energy threatened to destabilize the core. Alarms blared and Ethan's hands flew over the controls. The bond pulsed, almost like a heartbeat, guiding his instincts, giving him the clarity to act decisively. He adjusted the energy pulses, rerouted power to stabilizers, and the surge subsided. "Well done," Lyria said, her tone carrying rare warmth. "You acted with precision, courage, and intelligence. That is the mark of growth and of trust in the bond." Ethan exhaled, relief washing over him. "We did it together," he said quietly. "Yes," Lyria replied. "Partnership is the foundation of strength. Alone, we are limited. Together, we are capable of much more." As the core stabilized completely, Ethan felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and immense responsibility, and emerged successful, guided by courage, intellect, and the bond with Lyria. Yet he also knew that the journey was far from over. "There is one final step," Lyria said, her golden eyes fixed on him. "We must determine the anomaly's purpose. Observation alone is not enough. The rogue vessels have guided us here for a reason. Their behavior suggests coordination, intelligence, and intent. We must engage directly, carefully." Ethan nodded, feeling both excitement and apprehension. "I'm ready," he said. They moved deeper into the structure, following corridors that seemed alive with energy. Symbols glowed along the walls, shifting as they passed, almost as if the structure recognized their presence. Ethan felt the bond pulse, alerting him to fluctuations, guiding his focus and reinforcing his awareness. Finally, they reached a central chamber. The core of the structure pulsed with energy, surrounded by a formation of the rogue vessels. They observed silently, no longer aggressive but clearly intelligent. Ethan felt a mix of awe and caution. This was a moment of truth, a test of diplomacy, understanding, and the bond that connected him to Lyria. "Ethan," Lyria said, "we will communicate. The vessels respond to patterns, energy signals, and intent. We must demonstrate cooperation and goodwill." Together, they activated the communication array. Harmonic pulses of energy and light flowed from the ship, carefully crafted to convey intent, respect, and cooperation. Ethan felt the bond guide his actions, helping him anticipate Lyria's adjustments, timing, and strategy. The rogue vessels reacted almost immediately. One by one, they altered their formation, moving in patterns that mirrored the signals. Ethan realized they were responding not just to the ship's signals, but to the harmony between him and Lyria. The bond had become a bridge, amplifying understanding, building trust across species. Hours passed as they communicated, adjusted, and aligned with the vessels. Finally, the formation stabilized, the energy signature of the core balanced, and the anomaly no longer posed a threat. Ethan felt a surge of relief and pride. They had not only survived, they had succeeded through understanding, trust, and cooperation. "Excellent," Lyria said softly. "You have demonstrated courage, skill, and the true value of the bond. This structure, these vessels, they recognize that we act in unity, not aggression. That is the purpose of our mission: understanding, cooperation, and preservation." Ethan looked at her, admiration and respect shining in his eyes. I couldn't have done it without you. The bond, it guided me, taught me, changed me." Lyria inclined her head. "And you embraced it. That is why we succeeded. The bond is not a chain, Ethan. It is a path, a guide to mutual growth, understanding, and purpose." For the first time since the meteor storm, Ethan felt complete clarity. His life had changed forever, not just because he had survived, but because he had discovered strength in partnership, courage in the face of the unknown, and purpose beyond himself. As they prepared to leave the uncharted system, Ethan realized something profound. The bond with Lyria Thal was no longer a mysterious connection. It was a source of growth, resilience, and inspiration. He felt gratitude, respect, and a deep sense of responsibility. He knew that whatever challenges awaited them, together they could face them. "Commander," he said, his voice steady, "what happens next?" Lyria's golden eyes softened. "Next, we explore, learn, and protect. There are countless systems, anomalies, and civilizations in need of understanding. The bond ensures that we act with clarity, purpose, and cooperation. You will continue to grow, as will I. Together, we are stronger than alone." Ethan nodded, feeling a deep sense of resolve. "Then let's continue, together." The alien ship adjusted its course, leaving the anomaly and the rogue vessels behind. Stars stretched endlessly before them, full of possibilities, challenges, and mysteries yet to be uncovered. Ethan felt the bond pulse gently, a reminder that he was no longer alone. He had a guide, a partner, and a friend in Commander Lyria Thal. As they sailed into the unknown, Ethan reflected on the journey. From the meteor storm that had almost claimed his life, to the trials within the anomaly, to the understanding and trust that had grown between him and Lyria. He knew that the future was uncertain, but he also knew that he had the courage, skill, and bond to face it. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of the bond: connection, trust, growth, and shared purpose. It was a path forward, a new life, and a promise of adventures yet to come. Ethan Cole smiled, feeling the pulse of the bond in rhythm with his own heartbeat. Together, he and Lyria would explore the stars, uncover mysteries, and face whatever the universe placed before them. And for the first time, he was ready for anything. The stars awaited, endless and full of wonder. And so did their future, bound together, stronger than ever and ready to step into the unknown.